welcome to tabletop games. I'm your host, Anthony.
And I'm Francis.
And today we're going to talk about tabletop games.
Why not?
All right, so this is going to be a pretty quick video. We're not going to go into too much. We're not going to drone on for too long. We'll just say that. But we have a couple of things we want to just cover very quickly about the channel, about the branding, about just really just trying to get some clarity out there and sort of a different path we're sort of taking.
Yes.
Right. And I wouldn't say it's different. It's just I think we're getting our focus back. We're getting back on a path that we believe is the right path for our channel, and I think we'll run a road to improve the channel even more.
Yes, always. We're always on the road to improvement.
Yes, we're always looking to improve, right? So if you've been a long-time follower, you know we've gone through a whole host of branding and rebranding and changing names, pivoting. Like we did all these crazy things, and in the hopes that we'd find the right path and the right name and the right brand and the right vision and the right fit, for what we are. But we all keep coming back to the same place. We go back to our roots, and our roots are Antlab Games. And looking back, I think we can all agree that the whole rebranding and shifting of branding was a terrible mistake on our part.
Yeah.
At the time, it seemed like the right thing to do, but in reality, I think it ended up, hindering our growth and hurting our channel more than had we just stuck with the brand and pushed forward.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like we sort of felt like forced out of something that fit before, and then we were trying to find that fit again, and we really couldn't.
Right.
And then it's sort of like now, I don't know. It's because Antlab's who we have been always. And for those who have known us for a long time, a lot of the publishers we work with and the fans of the show and all of that kind of thing, it was always like we're always referred to as Antlab, whether we wanted to or not. So we're just like embracing it, and it feels really good actually.
Yeah. We're not. So we're gonna ride or die as Antlab Games, and that's really that's where we're going with this, right? So we're gonna start referring to ourselves just as who we are. We're Antlab Games. Now you're probably confused about the Nexus, right? Because were you interrupting me or something?
No.
No, I thought you wanted to make
making one of those like, oh yes, good point.
All right. I thought you were like, wait, one more thing. Let me interrupt. Let me interject here. No, but where I was going with is the board game Nexus, right? And you're like, okay, but are you the Nexus now? No, here's the thing. The board game Nexus, even though our YouTube channel is branded the board game Nexus, it is a representation of the website. Like the board game Nexus is a website. It's active. It's live. It is the board game website. The Nexus is the video channel or network for the Nexus, right?
Yeah.
Where we've added a handful of content creators who've been contributing to the Board Game Nexus network, and we've been sharing it with all of you. And I think it's been adding a nice touch to our content. Like honestly, it's definitely much appreciated to put some just a variety of content on there. What's wrong with more content? I think we can all agree that it's a good thing. But we are not going to represent the Board Game Nexus, Francis and I,
Right.
on the channel, the Board Game Nexus, because we'll be
the board game Nexus.
And who will we be?
Antlab Games.
Antlab Games.
Of course.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, because what happened was this, okay? So we have the Nexus. We've been successfully really getting a lot of good content up and updating the website, doing all this stuff. We are not the Board Game Nexus, though, and that's always been the case since the very beginning. So when we made the decision to use our existing channel as kind of the repository for all of the Nexus content for reasons we explained before, which is the right thing to do.
Right.
We were bringing, we have folks coming on bringing their own content and they have identities, and we're sitting here going, well, what do we call ourselves? Because we're not the Nexus.
Right.
We're just Anthony and Francis.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Who work for the Nexus.
Who work for the Nexus, who contribute to the Nexus, just like everybody else.
Right.
So, and that's, something very important to understand before we kind of explain, the rest of what we have for you today, is that the Nexus is a company on its own. It's owned by another entity that we own, so there's like a lot of layers between us personally and the company that we started. So that aside, we still kind of have what we love to do with our, with our brand of Antlab Games as contributors,
Right.
And as as an identity, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
So that's what we're kind of addressing today.
So the TLDR on that
Yes.
is we are Antlab Games
Yeah.
going forward. And we will always be Antlab Games going forward. That's it. We're done. We're done playing this branding name game. We're done playing this whole, why don't we pivot this way and pivot that way? And, we're going to own the brand. It is who we are, right? And there is no shame in that.
Yeah.
So we are very proud to be Antlab Games, and I think we're going to start to really just embrace that now going forward. So hopefully you're all happy with that. Some of you who don't really even know don't even care, right?
Yeah.
We're not going to change the name of the channel to Antlab Games because it is the Nexus. That's where we are, right?
Yeah.
But everything we post video-wise will be posted as Antlab Games for the Board Game
Yeah,
Nexus.
you can kind of consider us like exclusively creating content for the Board Game Nexus.
That's it.
If that's an easier way to look
That's
at it.
where you'll
but-
find Antlab Games. They're on the Board Game Nexus. That's it. So that sums it up for as far as our brand goes, right?
Yeah.
And it doesn't really change anything from you guys. It's just that's just who we're going to go by now.
Yep.
No
Exactly.
more anything else. It's just Antlab Games.
It feels so good.
It does. It's just I think it's back to where we belong, and enough is enough. We're done. We're not playing anymore about this whole branding thing. That's just what we are.
When you came to me with that, I was so excited. I was like, yes.
Yeah.
Because I love our logo, I love our brand, I love all our stuff, and I hated all the other stuff.
We did. We just it was a
Like-
mistake. We'll admit it. People make mistakes. You try to find solutions to problems that really are not problems at the end of the day, and we tend to think of things, make things out to be bigger issues than they really are. So it's just we're not without going into any drama. This isn't a video about drama. This is a video about happiness. This is a video about rebirth and sort of
going back
to our roots. And I think that's the important part. So with that said, and that sort of segues into this next part, which we'll talk about with regards to Patreon.
Yeah. We're getting in the game.
Yep, we are getting in the game. Okay, so Patreon,
Yes.
the P word. We've always been so against Patreon
Yeah.
in asking for money. It's just never been something we ever considered doing. But as it stands, we discussed it and we thought it was a smart move for us right now.
Yeah, for a couple of reasons.
Well, for number one, every other content creator is doing it. So why aren't we? Like, we might as well, right? Why does everyone else get to make money and we don't? We kind of rode that high horse for a while, but I think it's to our detriment, to be quite honest. We just think that in order to achieve what we want to achieve here, we need some help, right? We need support financially, because it's not. We've been out of pocketing this for years, and it's at a point where we just can't continue to do that. What I don't want this to sound like is we need this support to continue doing content.
Correct, because that is not the case.
This is so don't take it as that. This isn't please may I have some more?
Please.
Like
sir,
Oliver,
I want
like
some
out with our hands saying we need this, or we just can't do it. Like we're struggling, we can't do it. It's not at all. We're gonna continue doing what we're doing. Like
Right.
that'll never
Yeah,
change.
what we've got going on right now is sustainable
Yeah, it's
growth.
fine.
However, and doing some new things and some things that folks have been asking for.
Right.
Not as sustainable.
Right.
So,
So we've had requests
Yeah.
from followers and fans to. People have been asking us to do Patreon for years, and we just always kept saying no. And I'm like, all right, if people want to give us money to do this, that'll actually help us in a number of ways.
right.
Right. Number one, it allows us to upgrade equipment. Now our cameras are top notch. We're not worried about cameras, as you can tell by the video quality.
Yeah.
Our audio is pretty good, so I'm not worried about that. It's really in the ability to sort of switch cameras and do all that stuff, and that equipment is expensive.
Yeah.
So we definitely, in order to get something like that where we can do multiple cameras through a playthrough that are just on the fly moving around, get on the close-ups on more components
Yeah.
while we're playing, like all of that stuff that just kind of takes our content to the level we want it to be at without having to do it in post-production. is invaluable, but it's just pricey. So that's why we're like, all right, let's see if we can do Patreon to where we can get some cash in to kind of put back into the channel,
Right.
and sort of elevate it in such a way that works. If we don't get it, then we don't do it. It's not a big deal. There's no harm, no foul.
Yeah, but it makes things like doing live streams a lot easier. Doing, like you said, kind of switching on the fly so that we can get some more camera angles without having to invest a lot more time
Exactly.
into not just editing, but filming and managing everything. I feel like almost we should do like a video, maybe for patrons, that kind of looks like behind the scenes at what it actually takes to film.
Could be
a video.
Yeah, I think that's something we'd like to.
Yeah,
But
because there's a lot of stuff that you guys don't see.
so what we're doing is we've created a Patreon page, right?
Yeah.
Patreon/antlabgames. Like real simple. We're on there. You can search for us. You'll find it. It's active right now. We made 3 pricing tiers. Right, and we'll go through it because we're just full disclosure. Like this is what we're doing, right? And this is what you're going to get. So for the basic cheapest tier, $3, $3, and this is monthly, right? What you'll get is you'll get our patron only Discord. You'll get we're gonna do a monthly shop with us at our FLGS.
Yeah, I'm excited. This is my idea.
This
would
be cool. So if we can do it live, we'll do it live. If we
Yeah.
can do it recorded, and then we'll just post it just for patrons only. You'll get to see what it's like going to a game store for us.
Yeah, and because we've been going to the store a lot more recently now that COVID's not like a big of a fear and all that kind of stuff
Right.
anymore. And we do buy a lot of games.
We do.
I mean, a lot of people think that we get everything from publishers.
We don't.
Not the case. We do get quite a few things from a few publishers.
Right.
But we don't get every game from every publisher by any means.
Absolutely
So
not.
we do buy a lot of games.
Right. A lot more than we probably should have can afford, to be quite honest. Which is like I'm sure most of you on the phone
Carl's
on the
okay
video.
with it, though.
Yeah. So we go to one game store in Westchester, PA called the Games Keep. It's our favorite store. It's massive. He's got tons of games. So it's really we want you to join us. So that'll be a patron only thing.
Yeah.
And we'll do and you'll also get exclusive updates. So that's like the low tier.
Right.
Just support us. A couple bucks a month. Price of a cup of coffee. You can support us,
wow.
like a cheap cup of coffee at Wawa, maybe. So number 2, the second tier is the $6 one. That's like the mid-level, and that gets you kind of like a lot more bells and whistles.
A lot of perks.
A lot of perks, right? So you get all the stuff from the previous tier. You'll get the patron-only Discord. You'll get to shop with us at the FLGS, exclusive updates. You'll get to vote on our next playthrough, so you'll tell us what you want to see. Some of you have asked for things like
Mage Night.
That's not something we would probably ever do, but we would for our patrons, and that'll be a patron-only video.
Yeah.
Like this will be for you guys. So it's
Well,
definitely.
maybe not. We'll have you vote on lots of stuff.
We'll have you vote on that. Like if you guys want it to be patron only, we'll let you view it for like a month, and then we'll make it public for the rest of our followers. Who knows? But if you want to be a patron, you're going to get access to this premium content. I think it should be walled off for these guys. But it'll be like just watching us play, right? Next would be access to full playthroughs. So we've been doing these abbreviated playthroughs where we do like a couple of rounds.
Especially for really long games.
Yeah, we'll do like
explained why we're doing
20
that
minutes.
in
We'll
another
cut the
video.
middle out. We'll do the end, like the next round, and then we'll do like the last bit of it and the final scoring. So you miss like a chunk of middle stuff. You guys will have access to the full playthrough.
Yeah, and this was something that people have requested because honestly, a lot of folks like the abbreviated playthrough because we get through the whole thing in about an hour.
Right.
And other people are like, but I want to see all the boring middle stuff.
Right. $6 a month.
Well, I'll pay for it.
You get it all.
Yeah.
All right. So that was a request. So this is why we put that on there. And what we're gonna throw in for this tier at $6, you're gonna get 1 year of premium access to the Board Game Nexus.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. Well, you'll have access to the Board Game Nexus as long as you're a patron.
Yeah,
at this tier,
exactly,
indefinitely. As long if you'll just have premium access.
Yeah.
Why not? Right. It gives you all those perks. And finally, the $10 a month. That's our top tier. Like $10. That's all we ask. You get all the stuff we just talked about. But in addition to that, you're going to get a free T-shirt with Antlab Games on it, or if you want a Board Game Nexus, you let us know.
Yeah.
Either one, either brand is fine. You'll get exclusive chances to win copies of our game prototypes. So we get prototypes all the time for new games that are on Kickstarter. A lot of these publishers don't want them back.
Yeah.
So they just sit in a pile, and we have a year before they're published. A lot of them are like almost full production quality.
Right.
We don't have anything to do with them. We want to start giving them away, but just to our patrons.
Right.
Our top tiers, because they're expensive prototypes.
Yeah.
But you're going to be the only ones in this drawing. So, like, if we have one top tier patron, that patron is going to get all of our prototypes when we send them out. So it's something to get in. I think it's worth it. And then you're going to have exclusive access to one live playthrough per month. That'll be, again, walled off for you guys initially. It'll be a live playthrough. We'll play whatever game you guys vote on, and we'll just sit there casual. We'll chat, we'll talk, live play, all for you guys. So we hope those perks are enough, right, to get you interested. And not only that, but also if you like us and follow us and you really want to support the channel, because we know a lot of people do, financially, this is your opportunity. Take it or leave it. We're not saying we need you to do this, but it would be super appreciated, because what it does is it not only allows us to get new equipment, but it allows us to buy more games, and it gives us sort of like a detachment from depending on publishers to provide us with review copies of games, right? Because, like I said, we can only buy so many games, but if publishers aren't giving us review copies of games,
Right.
then, and we don't have the budget for it, we're not going to review those games. And you guys are asking for them, and like, look, we just can't afford it. They're not giving us those review copies. They've got them pegged out to other people. We have no option but to buy those games, and usually we have to wait a long time.
Yeah.
And that's it. But if we have a budget due to Patreon to buy those games independently, then we can review everything.
Right.
And I don't ever like to feel like, I don't want there ever to be us doing a review of something and somebody say, well, you were given a copy, or
Right.
and you're a little bit biased now. Like, no, we want to be able to independently buy these games and give our opinions on it without any sway.
Yeah.
So I think not that it would influence us anyway, but it just
It's
the
like you
perception.
Said, it's the detachment and it's the perception of it. So I think that's yeah.
I don't ever want to be beholden to publishers to determine whether or not we're going to have enough review copies of games to continue to pump out content.
Especially if they're games that you guys want to see.
Yeah,
So,
not something that a publisher is willing to send to us. Because not every publisher sends us games. Just
and
so
that's
you know.
okay. And we're definitely not the type to like go to a publisher and be like, well, we should have a copy of this game because we have X number of subscribers. Like, we don't do that.
We don't do that.
So, it's. I think it's we have this healthy mix of like, we get some copies of stuff, we buy a lot of stuff, and we want you to kind of be part of that journey. So, so that's
it. We don't want to drone on about this. This isn't a we need your help type of thing, but it is a, hey, we'd love your help, and here's some ways you can do that.
Yep.
Right, and that's it. So, big takeaways here. We are Antlab Games, and we'd love your support on Patreon.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, and we're going to continue to provide the best content we can, as long as we can.
Yeah.
All right. So, look, thanks for watching. I want to keep it real quick. Hope to see you on Patreon. If not, hope to see you on the channel. Like, either way, you're part of our team. So, stick with us.
Definitely let us know. Like, in the comments below, we did our best to like pick out a couple things you guys might like. If you have other ideas, we're really up for anything unique.
This list is not set in stone, and we're
let
always
us know
if we're able to add to it. Yeah,
we can definitely make some edits and additions and things.
Without a doubt, we'll add to the list. No problem. All right. So, thank you. We'll see you next time.
We'll see you.